Don't be that guy who doesn't set their lineup because they're hungover. Hey everyone, welcome back to Encinas Unfiltered. We got Week 15, Fantasy Football. X, thank you for joining me. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Fabian was our winner of the last giveaway. He liked, he subscribed, and he commented at the 3 minutes before the deadline. And he won. You know how that goes.
The boy comes in clutch.
Hey man, to each their own. He is fighting December 21st. I am actually going to be interviewing him on Sunday and his stablemate on Monday for their upcoming fight. 559 fights. They're both, well, Fabian's fighting for the camel belt. He has the 559 belt, and his stablemate Francisco has both belts. So he's defending his belt at the event. You got 185ers and 170s. It's going to be a great time. Visalia Convention Center, Saturday, December 21st. Be there. So that's enough of that little promo. But also, if you want to know what's going on with us, go to www.encinasunfiltered.com. You can check out our Instagram. But mostly the website, you can literally see everything that's going on. Our links, our locks of the week. You can even watch the video straight from the website. So I definitely recommend going there and checking it out. We also got a merch store. You might not get in time for Christmas now that it's all craziness and packages are. Yeah. So maybe they show up. Maybe they don't. Maybe my freezer will come in. Maybe it won't. Surprised it didn't. But shout out to Lowe's for that one. But anyways, oh man, heated already. I'm already heated. Oh god,
we're not even in the hot takes, brother. Calm down, calm down. Heated.
But in the third part of our show, I have my cousin Kolby coming on. He's from Oklahoma. He's a wrestler, very knowledgeable. He has some pretty interesting hot takes. Some I may agree on, some I may disagree on. But he will be at the end of the show. So thank you for doing that, Cole. Well, let's start off with quarterback, man. I'm starting Sam Darnold. 5 touchdown Sam, bro. Let me tell you. Sam Darnold, I don't know what happened. I don't know if he went to Mayorga. I don't know if he went to the Caribbean. I don't know what he did. But he had a rejuvenation. He looked like week 1 Sam Darnold.
That's a scary pick.
Hey, dude. Sam Darnold against Chicago. It is a divisional matchup, but Chicago's not going to play. Let's call for what it is. I just got absolutely dismantled by a really hurt Niners offense.
That was disgusting. That was disgusting. I picked up the Bears defense, and they screwed me, boys. They screwed me. Never again. Never again. Don't touch any Bears players.
No.
Disclaimer.
No.
The Bears are done.
I really like Minnesota's matchup. Chicago's not looking very good right now. Caleb doesn't look good. Sam Darnold loves to throw the ball. Aaron Jones has really been a non-factor this last couple weeks. So because of that, I just really like him for fantasy and with a really good favorable matchup this week. Next, you're starting Kyler Murray. So let me give you the caveat. He had a really bad game last week, but the new Zombies map dropped, so it was kind of expected. Come on now. People think with your heads. If you're not sure, you're Call of Duty Zombies map.
Boy's running around the house with a void sword, dude. He doesn't even know what's happening.
Hey, Angel and I knocked it out, bro. It took like 9 hours, but we got it. So,
the boys.
With the help of Bri. Shout out to little Bri. But Kyler Murray playing against New England. New England's not very good. Drake May is going to be slinging the ball. Kyler Murray, like we said, all Arizona Cardinals are a team this year. But they have a favorable matchup. James Conner is going to be looking good. Too bad I traded him away. I like Trey McBride this week. And I like Marvin Harrison. I think he gets it going again. Against a team that's very
exploitive. We're not there yet, brother. Calm down.
What?
We're not there yet.
What do you mean?
We're not in receivers and tight ends, dude. Calm down.
I'm just talking about in general.
You're getting excited. You're getting excited. You're getting overzealous, dude. Excited. It's playoff time. You're hyped. I get it.
Hey. It's my show, goddammit. It's my show. Taking over. Next, you're sitting Baker Mayfield. The hot hand. You're sitting Baker. They're playing against the Chargers. I don't like his matchup against the Chargers. I don't like Mike Evans' matchup against the Chargers. The Chargers have a good defense.
That's fair. Did you know
their number 1 defense yards allowed this year?
It's a fair understanding. However, we're in playoffs, brother. You need to keep consistent. Mayfield.
I don't like his odds this week.
It's not the greatest matchup, but
it's the worst matchup. Another worst matchup would be against the Steelers.
Fair-ish.
So the Los Angeles Chargers, we looked it up today at work because we got into this heated argument, have the least yards against them this year per game.
That's a Harbaugh team.
That's crazy. It's a Harbaugh team. So for fantasy reasons, we need yards and we need points.
Fair enough.
I just don't think Baker Mayfield, he's going to have a rough go this week. And then your favorite, I don't really care either way. I'm more neutral in the situation. But your favorite player, we're sending Anthony Richardson to Denver.
When were you ever picking him up? He should be on the waiver wire every.
He had a last couple of weeks. He's had good weeks, so people are picking him up. And with people being hurt,
I mean, if you're playing for like the Sacco Award or the Butthole Award, sure, go ahead.
I mean, people still do it. People still do it.
If you want to lose, sure.
I think Bevel still has
you, boo.
But that's besides the point. So, they're playing against Denver. Denver's a top defense. Bo Nix really proved me wrong. So, I was starting to talk about Bo Nix. I think Denver's absolutely... If it wasn't for the Chiefs, they'd probably be making playoffs, but unfortunately, they won't be. Yeah. You're not starting Richardson this week. X, you guys starting a quarterback this week.
Starting, I got the headhunter himself, Tua, starting against Houston. You like that one?
Come on, bro.
I like him going against Houston. Houston's still in disarray. They can't get it together. They have a good team. They just can't seem to get it together. So, Tua throwing against them should be a good time. You should feel comfortable starting him. Then, this one is for your deep leagues, your deep quarterback leagues. I wanted to put this one in here because in my other league that I actually made playoffs in, got that first round bye, just saying. But in your 2 quarterback leagues, you're going to start the boy Rush going against Carolina. The reason why I like the matchup is because Dallas is always coming from behind. Carolina has now got it together. They figured it out for some random reason.
Hold on.
No.
You're coming from behind, brother. Come on now.
Hey,
Tuesday.
Look, regardless, Rush is doing pretty good. He's figured it out now. He's averaging about like 20-ish points a week. In his last like 4 weeks, he's averaging about 20. That's pretty solid. That's what you want, right? So I like that matchup against Carolina. Carolina's now figured it out. Bryce Young doing big things. That whole team's actually doing very big things. They're ending off the season really well, which is, if you're a Carolina fan, that's a good look right now. That's something to be looking forward to. But Carolina's going to be scoring big points. Rush is going to have to keep up with that. He's going to be passing a lot. I feel like he's a safe bet. So just keep on going with that if you're in that kind of deeper league. You're sitting Brock Purdy against the Rams. The Rams have got it together. All of a sudden, they just figured it out. They're just like Carolina, dude. They just figured it out. It is what it is.
Their offense has figured it out.
Yeah. I shit on the Niners last week, and that bit me in the ass. But that's one, what you get. No, the Bears fucking suck. Fuck the Bears.
I could have told
everybody on the Bears.
Oh, here we go.
Ah, dude, they're gonna demonetization.
Demonetization.
Dude, I'm about to roid out. No. But the Rams, I feel much more confident in saying that you should probably sit Purdy just in this. The Rams have figured it out. I mean, apparently, for some reason last week, the Niners figured it out, so it might be a nice shootout of a game. I don't know. But I don't feel confident putting Purdy out. Purdy, for fantasy purposes, not really looking that good right now. So I think you're safe to just let him go this week. And you're going to sit the boy Geno Smith going against Green Bay. Geno Smith, for some reason, he's like up and down, dude. He's a weird roller coaster that you cannot confidently start, especially now that you're in playoffs, right? By the way, congrats to everybody that made playoffs. For those of you that didn't make playoffs, sorry. Get ready for next season. But, good luck to everybody that made playoffs. Hopefully you get that win. You can tell everybody to go suck it because you listened to your boy and your boy led you to victory.
That's definitely not how I made playoffs, but...
Hey, in my other league, I got a first round bye, brother. So tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about.
What'd you get in our
listen to the boys. Hey, I got last place, brother.
Okay. At least you're honest. At least you're honest.
I couldn't fight through the injuries, dude.
No,
I couldn't fight through the injuries.
I get it. No, I get it. Yeah.
I could not fight through the injuries. And for those of you that suffered down in the depths of Hades with me, I feel you, brother. We're on the same boat. We're on the boat of Charon. We're on our way to the end. But for, in my other league, I'm sitting atop Mount Olympus, living my best lives, dude. But regardless, Geno Smith used to be Mr. Reliable. Not so much right now. He's not safe right now for playoffs, and even looking into his future games, into his week 16 and 17. Not looking good for the boy. So you're better off just moving on from that.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. I think he's going to have a rough. Green Bay is kind of an underrated defense. I mean, we know they're good, but they're a lot better than I think people expect them to be. I think they show that against Niners, even though Niners had no playing against them, they did shut us down. And that is saying something, regardless of how injured we are. Running backs. Starting Chuba Hubbard against Dallas. So, yes, he's a top running back, but you got to remember, with the introduction of Jonathan Brooks, a lot of his carries were getting stripped from him. So I've actually sat him and benched him for the time being, and I wish I would have started him last week. Didn't really matter. I made playoffs anyways. But now that Jonathan Brooks is out with another ACL injury, maybe he comes back next year. I don't know. Maybe he reevaluates his career and just life choices. Who knows? Feel bad for the kid. Like the guy. But Chuba Hubbard signed an extension, going against Dallas. Rough game for him, man. What a rough game. They could have won that game. They really could have. But, Cowboys are going to do Cowboy things. Hubbard should have a really good game, even though Mike is back and Mike is doing well. I do think Hubbard is going to have a great game, and he should absolutely be a start this week.
There's a lot of dark magic happening in the NFL. The Chiefs are winning everything. A lot of games that shouldn't be won are being won. It's weird. It's weird.
Oh, my God. Anyways, conspiracy theories. Next. So I have two because X doesn't like when I put top running backs in, and even though he swears this guy's not a top running back, he's starting James Conner against New England. He has a good matchups for the same reasons why I'm starting Kyler Murray. But if you don't like the James Conner matchup, Dwaddle. You're starting Dwaddle versus Carolina. Surprisingly, he's done very well after Steven Smith talked a lot of crap about him and said, "Who the hell is this guy?" Well, he's telling you who he is now. He's averaged probably like 16 points in the last 3 weeks per game. It's not bad. He's not bad.
That's good for a running back. That's solid.
Great reason to start him. Definitely flex start against the Carolina.
That actually on a lower end is Montgomery type numbers. And Montgomery's doing very good this season. That's Montgomery lower end numbers. And you would still start Montgomery, so Dowdle's good.
He's definitely a good flex play. I
Yeah.
mean, obviously, because he's probably was just a waiver wire pickup, so definitely a good flex play. Definitely should start him if you need to, based on matchup going forward. Sitting, and I said this last week, and I will say it again, you are sitting Pacheco, and you are sitting Kareem Hunt. You're sitting Kansas City running backs. It's sad. I know people have them. They spent a high draft pick on them. Well, talking about Pacheco specifically. But Cleveland has a stingy defense, and you still got to go against Myles Garrett, and I don't like that. And Pacheco's still coming back from injury, and they're going to slowly work him in. And they still have Kareem Hunt, who they signed, he's a starting running back on a team that needs a running back. He'd be the starting running back for the Dallas Cowboys. So, because of that, I just don't like their splitting. I just don't like the situation. I mean, it's great for the team because when the playoffs comes, they're going to be rejuvenated, they're going to be healthy, and they're going to be cooking and rocking. So, but for fantasy purposes, don't start them. And you're sitting Tampa Bay running backs. So I think going forward after this week, like Rachaad White will probably be more viable if Bucky Irving's still hurt. But the Los Angeles Chargers, as I said earlier, have the lowest amount of yards per game on average than any other team in the NFL. They are number one in yards per game. So because of that, it's a Jim Harbaugh team. They're looking very good. Probably comeback team of the year for sure, hands down. And because of that, I just don't like that matchup with Joey Bosa and Mac and everybody else that is there on that defense. X, who you starting at running back this week?
So we got a little bit of a waiver wire pickup for majority of people. You're going to start the boy Isaiah Davis going against Jacksonville. I like it. Him and what's his face? Braylon Allen.
Yep.
They literally split it 50-50. So even if you have Braylon Allen, sure. I think that Davis has a little bit more of an upside. I think that the coaching staff knows what they have in Braylon Allen, but they want to see more of Davis. So I feel like Davis, especially in this game, this should be a game that they win, but we don't know with the Jets, right? But I feel like for your deeper leagues, Davis is going to be pretty solid to start. I think you'd be okay if, you're still fighting through the injuries. Then I think Davis would be a good choice for you this week to get you through your first playoff game. Next is the boy Chase Brown going against the Titans.
Well, that's a gimme, bro.
Well, honestly, this week, some of these picks were actually very difficult. Like, there is a lot of tough matchups going on, and now we're getting in a weird point where even the crappy teams are, like, turning it on out of nowhere. So this week was a very, very, very difficult week to pick some of these because, as you know, me and the boy don't like to pick obvious starters. If you have Derrick Henry, we're not going to put on there, well, start Derrick Henry. That's just stupid. We know. So normally when it comes to our sits is normally where we do those kind of first rounders. So like, if Derrick Henry has a tough matchup, then we'll be like, you might want to sit Derrick Henry this week. You know what I mean? But when it comes to the starts, there were so many tough matchups. I'm very fortunate. I don't like this week at all, like for anybody. And if you are fighting through your first round of playoffs right now, I am so sorry. Like, this is a rough week for everybody. So I'm so happy that I have a bye. I don't got to worry about it. But Chase Brown against Tennessee. Tennessee's offense is still in disarray. Their defense is very good. Their defense should be healthy and coming back. However, their offense just tires them out so bad that the terribleness of that offense overshadows the goodness of their defense. So, unfortunately, I think at the beginning, probably first half-ish, Chase Brown isn't going to put up much, but come second half, I think that's when you're going to start to reel in those points. Sitting, you're going to sit Tracy going against Baltimore. Don't like that matchup. I know Baltimore kind of has a really not a very good defense.
Doesn't matter though.
I think that offense is going to be scoring big enough to where they're going to abandon the run. And so that's going to make Tracy's value kind of drop. Then you're going to sit the guy that people seem to think is very good. You're going to sit Jonathan Taylor going against Denver. Denver's the number one defense. Their offense is now starting to burn out the clock. They're going to get behind. They're trying to prove to themselves that Richardson is still viable. So I think it's just going to take away from Taylor and his effectiveness.
Yeah, I think it's just a tough matchup for Taylor. Tracy's a good game to point out is that Giants are playing against Baltimore, and Tommy DeVito is now the starting quarterback. So,
yeah.
And Daniel Jones is obviously in Minnesota now. So, yeah, it's going to be pretty rough. I actually picked up Baltimore defense because I do think that they will maybe shine a little light like last year and start kicking into gear and hopefully figure it out fantasy-wise. Receiver, you start Jordan Addison. Definitely recency bias. Don't get me wrong. I will be the first to admit it. But with $5 foot-long Sam Darnold over here throwing 5 TDs, he's slinging the ball, dude. He's slinging the ball. And who are you going to double? Justin Jefferson. You're not doubling Jordan Addison.
The one thing that I like, though, is now he's spreading the ball.
Yes.
He's spreading the ball a lot. Which now you're seeing, as we had a couple episodes ago about me ranting about Jordan Addison, we're now seeing that come into play.
Right. But they are playing Chicago, and that's why it's very heavily matchup based. Chicago's not good. Vikings are good. Put two together, you know what to do.
Again. I'm not starting this.
But that's it. That's all it is. Addison has a matchup. He's probably going to be a flex with a lot of receivers either being hurt or, I have 5 receivers hurt on my team as it is. I'm going to the playoffs. So
I'm starting Addison the next 2 weeks.
For sure.
The end of my
100%.
In my championship games. I'm 100%.
Starting. And then you're starting Ladd McConkey. So Ladd McConkey didn't get to play last week. So like for my team, I put in Quentin Johnson. It was a quick little substitution. Quentin Johnson isn't a fix though. Remember, he drops a lot of passes. He's not very good.
Yeah.
There's a reason why Ladd McConkey stepped up. So if healthy, he's playing against a really weak Tampa Bay defense. And because of that, I do think he's going to have a lot of upside, a lot of potential to boom in your lineups this week. Sitting, you are absolutely going to sit DK Metcalf. For the love of God, against Green Bay. You probably aren't starting DK for the rest of the season. Other people, as you see later in this episode, may think otherwise. Personally, I just don't like DK. For fantasy reasons this year, he's getting double.
DK Metcalf.
I know.
He's on my list.
And you can see him rant about that last week.
He's on my list.
Just Green Bay's great defense, great corners. McKinney's having a hell of a year, picking the ball. I really don't like Seattle's matchup this week at all for the run game and for their passing game. And I will say this again, and I don't know why I say it. I still have them on my team, and I don't know why. I'm really just hoping Richardson gets hurt or doesn't play, and then I can put him in my lineups again. But you're sitting the Colts receivers. Like, why are people still putting in? I mean, Downs is hurt, but Michael Pittman into their lineups. Like, why do people still have Anthony Richardson on their team? It's like these are very droppable players. Unless Anthony Richardson has a game where you say, "Oh, he's going to be running the ball a lot because the defense is chasing him," then maybe. But I would be I think it's very fair to say that I can say confidently that if you have Anthony Richardson as your starting quarterback, you're probably not in fantasy playoffs. So I guess and that's not a shot. That's just me being honest. That ain't it. He ain't it.
Oh,
he ain't it. Man. So playing Denver, don't start him. Very simple.
Yeah.
X, who you got starting receiver this week?
Starting. This is going a little bit deeper. I like the boy Thielen going against Dallas.
Oh, that's not deep at all. That's not deep at all.
Believe it or not, dude, Thielen in my other league was picked up, I want to say like a week ago. And he was being used and abused like a $5 prostitute. He was on a team 1 week, dropped, on again, dropped, on again, dropped. Like that boy was going through it. But he had a good redemption game, and at least good enough for me. I liked it. So him going against Dallas, I think is a good matchup. Dallas does have good corners, but Bryce Young's turning it on now, so I kind of ride that hype train. Then I like, for those of you that were hoping that trade would pan out, I like Devontae Adams against Jacksonville. Jacksonville's still just awful team. There's not a lot going on there. And I think that this is maybe the week that the Jets get it together. Sitting. This one, I'm confident in this one, but I'm also you're gonna sit Jerry Jeudy against Kansas City.
Oh no!
Oh yeah!
Oh
no!
Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah! Oh yeah! You're sitting the boy Jerry Jeudy against Kansas City. One, here are my reasonings. I feel like I got to explain this one. One, Kansas City burns out the clock. Kansas City finds a way to burn out the clock, get those first downs, even with their crappy backfield that now all of a sudden is just crappy. Nonetheless, too, Cleveland's offense is dependent on the Winston that shows up. Right now, everybody's a little hard for Winston. I think now that he is going to go against a team that is obviously playoff every single year, he's going to go against a good team. And I think that especially with Kansas City's coaching staff, they definitely beat out Cleveland's coaching staff for sure. Spagnuolo, really good defense coordinator. He's going to shut it down. He's going to shut it down. So I don't feel, I mean, I understand if that's what you have, that's what you got to work with, but I'm questionable on this one, boys.
Wait, hold on. Hold on. What is this? Oh, what is this? We're eating W's. We're going Jameis Winston, baby. Jameis Winston's going to pop off, dude.
No,
look at this is my reasoning. He's going to be so far behind, he's going to be throwing the ball, and I think Jerry Jeudy gets a lot of work. Whether or not he's going to be good to start, I'm not saying that. I really like Jerry Jeudy this week. He's getting the ball. He's the guy. He's the guy there. It's not Nick Chubb.
You got Njoku. You got Elijah Moore, who all of a sudden is starting to step up. Dude, Judy is one. He's going to either get injured or he's going to get shut down. I'm telling you that right now. All right,
and we'll come back to the spot exactly in the episode next week.
You know what? We can. Then you're going to sit A.J. Brown against Pittsburgh. A.J. Brown has not been producing at all. A.J. Brown has not been producing. A.J. Brown caught the symptom of DK Metcalf and is doing nothing right now. Right now, there is a little bit of a riff going on, right? And then A.J. Brown comes out, you guys just took it out of context. No. So what is going to happen? There's going to be one of two things that's going to happen. One, they're either going to try and make it seem like, it's not that bad. So then their game plan is going to be heavily geared towards A.J. Brown. Pittsburgh is not stupid. They are a good defense. They're going to figure that out. They already are probably even planning for that. So I think that Devontae Smith is going to have a better outing. A.J. Brown, I don't think, is going to do exactly what everybody thinks and expects him to do because he should be doing it. I don't feel comfortable with that matchup. I think that you could find some better matchups to go. It's not safe for me. Not safe for me.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess I can't
Those
fight.
Are bold sits. Bold sits.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, though, I guess if I want to think about it, yeah, he hasn't been doing good. But, I am an Eagles fan until week 17. So, until the end of week 17. As a Jalen Hurts. As a Jalen Hurts / Saquon Barkley stack, baby. Woo!
Oh, dirty.
Nasty, bro. All I need is Jalen just to throw on a little dump pass, bro, and I get double touchdowns.
You got
a Josh Allen every week, dude.
Dude, you got such a rough matchup this week.
This week, yes, but I think he'll be fine because he's going to be slinging the ball. I think he'll be okay.
That sucks, man.
I think he'll be all right. All right, tight ends. You're starting Sam Laporta, man, and he's actually absolutely been turning around these last 3 weeks. I'm happy for him. That was my tight end go-to all last year. I'm very high on Laporta as a tight end for the league for years to come. But he's going to have a tough matchup against Buffalo, but Buffalo just gave up a lot of points to the Rams. And yeah, the Rams are starting to figure it out. But Buffalo's giving up a lot of points. And as long as it's not snowing, I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. And because of that, Sam Laporta is a red zone threat. As we can tell, he's getting touchdowns and Tim Patrick's getting touchdowns. And sorry for Bobo, but Amon-Ra is not getting touchdowns in the end zone. So, David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, Tim Patrick, Sam Laporta, and then Amon-Ra in that order. So that's who you're starting this week. I think you're safe with starting him, and then you're starting Mark Andrews. I know it's a weird one. I know he's up and down, and likely he's up and down. But these last couple of weeks, they've been starting to get ramped up. He's getting more receptions. He's getting a lot more red zone looks, and the New York Giants are just so bad that I do think that Andrews is going to get that value and probably score a touchdown. Whether it's early or not doesn't really matter. Tight ends haven't been really anything crazy unless your name's Brock Bowers this year. So I think he's probably a safe play. Smith. Recently, but I'm talking about longevity throughout the entire year. Brock Bowers is the best tight end right now in football.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
But I think this week, just based on the matchup, he's probably going to score a touchdown, and I think he's a safe start. Sitting. And why do people still have this guy? People don't listen to the show. I tell them week after week after week. You're sitting Cole Kmet. Actually, no. You're dropping Cole Kmet. He's playing against Minnesota. Shouldn't be at your team at this point. Drop the guy. Pick up somebody else. Pick up Evan Ingram. I don't care. I don't even care who it is. Don't pick up Kyle Pitts. You can't trust him. That's my second guy. Sorry, I kind of just jumped the gun there. But Kyle Pitts playing against Las Vegas. Kirk Cousins hasn't thrown a touchdown pass in like a month. I don't know what's going on. And even though the Raiders suck, I don't trust Kyle Pitts. They're not getting him the ball. He has had like 3 targets, I think, last game, and he had like 1 reception. It's like, what is happening there? For as talented as he is, Kirk Cousins isn't getting him the ball, even though he promised him before the season started to get the ball. Sorry, I'm just ranting at this point because it's getting really upsetting that I drafted this dumb guy. But he is also very droppable for the foreseeable future. X, who are you starting at tight end this week?
Starting, we're riding the train with Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith had a rough game. Oh, a rough game, boys. I was sweating bullets. I was sweating bullets, but then the OT kicked in, and it was the Jonnu Smith show. Let's go, boys. Let him down the field, got you a solid 13 points. beautiful. 10 points out of your tight end. That's a good week for a tight end.
That's fair.
That's a good week. So when the boy goes over 10 points, ooh, boys, we are ecstatic. So I I still think he's a solid matchup. I'm riding him till the end.
Yo, what?
Hey,
what? Hey, yo.
Hey, the boy needs a win. The boy needs a win. Bro. Hey, so Johnny Smith should have a good matchup against Houston. You know, we kind of already went over Houston a little bit. I've been beating that with the dead horse for the past couple of weeks. So, you know, not really too much to explain there. I actually like Gesicki going against Tennessee. Tennessee's middle linebacking core is one of the worst in the NFL. All of them are always injured all the time. You got practice squatters just trying to do something, make a name for themselves. And for the reasons I said before, man, that defense just gets too tired. So I think Gesicki's going to have a good game. Sitting, I don't like Kraft going against Seattle.
Really?
Now, The reason why I don't like Kraft going against Seattle is because Seattle, I understand I'm not trying to run off of the Legion of Boom like 10 years ago, but
you are.
Seattle, no. Seattle always prides themselves on their middle linebacking core. It's kind of like the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers always pride themselves on tough middle linebackers. And I feel like in that division, that every single team in that division prides themselves on good middle linebackers. So when you have good middle linebackers, you feel comfortable putting them against your tight ends. Your tight ends coming over the middle. The only way that I see Kraft really doing anything is maybe if he's out in slot. But other than that, I really don't like Kraft's matchup going against Seattle. The other one we're going to sit the boy Njoku against Kansas City. For the same reasons that I said before about Jerry Jeudy, do I think that Winston's going to throw the ball? Yes. But do I think that Kansas City's defense is going to be good enough to limit him? 100%. Because Kansas City's defense has been keeping Kansas City in the game their entire season. That offense is a mess right now with Kansas City. So with that, they relied on their defense. Their defense does well disguising and does what they need to do to keep them into a game. And I don't think that it's going to change this week.
Still starting Jerry Jeudy. Boomer bust, baby. Starting him for the win.
That's scary.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
It's scary.
Well, you got 5 receivers hurt. What are you gonna do?
Fair enough.
All right. Defense. Starting Baltimore, very obvious. Talked about a little bit about them earlier. They're playing against the Giants. The Giants are now back on their third quarterback, Tommy DeVito. He's back. Drew Lock's out. Daniel Jones is on Minnesota now. They're just not a good team, man. Call it for what it is. They're going to be the number 1 overall draft pick. They're probably drafting Shedeur Sanders, which Shedeur does not want to go there. It is what it is. I like Baltimore defense. This is the time for them to step up and start playing like they were last year and prepping for playoffs. And I need them to go off so I can win this football matchup. Full disclosure. But I really like this matchup, and I think they do well. And you're starting Denver D. I mean, you should be starting Denver D, but this is an excellent matchup against Anthony Richardson and the Colts. I don't know. I just don't see it. I don't see how the Denver defense is going to have a bad week this week. I don't think Anthony Richardson's going to throw any 60-yard bombs. I don't think Dallas. I don't think Denver's that bad to allow that to happen. And they've been a top 5 defense all year. I think the hardest part they're going to have to do is just contain Anthony Richardson as far as like maybe a QB spy or somebody to play cover, like a spy or something. Like essentially they need a spy against them. But other than that, no one else is really going to be a threat against them. You're sitting the Colts defense. I think Denver, with the emergence of Bo Nix, after I talked crap about him all year, even though I did say before the season that, or before the draft, I should say, that he was probably the best guy coming out of college in his class, in my personal opinion. And that's something against Caleb. I just think he had the stats and all of the 4 to 5 years to back it up with all his playing time. And you're sitting Carolina, and I know people are like, Carolina, is really anybody playing him? Well, someone might consider playing him against Dallas, but Cooper Rush has kind of been figuring it out with CD. I wouldn't start any of their defenses, to be honest, personally. But don't start Carolina's defense for the love of God. Whatever you do, Just go look at their game log for the whole season, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
X, who you got starting at defense this week?
Starting, I got Arizona going against New England. New England's offense is still just a mess. Arizona's offense has been a mess too, but Arizona just overall just has the better team. And Arizona also has a good enough offense to burn out the clock enough to where you could feel confident starting that defense. Then you're also going to start the Jets defense going against Jacksonville.
Ooh.
Jacksonville's running backs aren't bad per se, but you got Mac Jones.
Who?
Absolute doo-doo.
Who?
Mac Jones. Oh, bad. So I feel like you would be confident and be okay with starting the Jets this week. You're sitting Pittsburgh and Philly. They're both going against each other. I would not do it. I would not do it. Would not start any of them. Those are two playoff caliber teams that are going against each other. You just not for playoffs.
Let me ask you a question real quick before you keep going.
Go ahead.
If George Pickens doesn't play, which we think he won't, wouldn't you argue that Philly should do pretty well? Because all Pittsburgh can do at this point is probably run the ball. I mean,
no.
They had Jalen Warren and Najee Harris. Who are they throwing the ball to?
No. Right now we are witnessing the rebirth, the phoenix from the ashes of Russell Wilson. We're talking almost prime. Almost prime Seattle Super Bowl Russell Wilson. No. Yes, we are. I said almost.
He had one good game.
I said almost. No, he did not have one good game. He's had good games. Plural. Trust me. Don't feel confident
you really hop on the train so fast.
I'm not hopping on the trains. Look, I don't like to praise Pittsburgh. I have a Steelers fan at work that is horribly obnoxious. And I don't like dealing with it, like, at all. I don't like to give him that credit. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. Do I still think that Pittsburgh's going to lose in playoffs? Yes, they'll only go as high as the second round. I don't think they'll go any farther than that.
I think they're going to lose this week.
Probably. I think Philadelphia is just a better team. But regardless, we're in playoffs, brother. Too many questions. So then you're going to also sit Kansas City against Cleveland. Because you don't know what kind of Winston's going to show up. You are saying
that Jerry Jeudy has a chance to boom. That's what you're saying.
No, I'm just saying that Winston will do what he needs to do to get it done.
He's going to throw the Jerry Jeudy. Got it.
No.
That's what I'm hearing.
There's Njoku. There's Elijah Moore. There's Jerome Ford. There's Nick Chubb out of the backfield. Like, there's a lot going on. It's just too many questions. Too many possibilities.
So next, we're going to get into our Week 15, the betting odds for the games this upcoming week. We're going to kind of fly through this because we still got our part 3 of the show, which is our hot takes. So we got the first game of the week. Oh, man, my game's going to be early this week. We got Los Angeles Rams versus the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers are favored by 2.5 points. San Francisco is playing at home. The total is 49.5. Ain't no way the game's going over 49.5. I don't know what they're smoking, but
a bunch of crack.
I guess so. So I'm taking the under on that total.
Oh yeah, for sure.
X, who you got in this game? Because I know you're going to say some dumb crap. So go ahead.
Why is it all of a sudden dumb crap?
Go ahead.
No, hold on. No, I want to know why you're saying I'm going to say dumb crap.
Who's going to win? Rams or Niners?
Rams,
very simple.
100%.
Yeah, that's some dumb crap.
You're such a dummy, dude.
Look at just because they beat the Bills, they still played at home, so they didn't play Buffalo in Buffalo, okay?
They figured it out.
Okay, look, I want to be real. I really don't know who's going to win. I think as a betting man, which I'm not, but if you were to bet, the Rams does make sense at plus money because they just beat the Bills.
Yep.
I would argue the Bills don't have a better defense than the Niners, even while we're all injured. I would still argue that we don't. I think it depends. I don't know who's playing this upcoming, well, I guess technically it'd be tomorrow, because you have Guerrero who's hurt. I don't like any of the other running backs. Guerrero was and has shown flashes throughout the season. None of the other guys have. So I wasn't overly worried, and that's why, like last week, I was like, you should absolutely start Guerrero. I just had a strong feeling that he was going to do well. This week now with a questionable running back, Debo not playing well. Jawan Jennings is great. I mean, he's been good. But, I don't know. My heart says San Francisco, and that's what I'm going to pick. But if I were to bet, which I can't because we live in California, I would say the Rams are probably going to win. And I think I would take that plus money to bet. Does that make sense?
Sure. To a crazy person.
I guess. Next game, Cincinnati versus Tennessee. Bengals are favored by 5. I'm taking that -5 all day.
Yep.
And the total's 46.5. 46.5. I'm taking the under because do I trust Will Levis? No. Are the Bengals like 30th ranked against the quarterback this year? Yeah. But do I trust Will Levis?
No.
So I'm taking the under on that. X, what do you think about that?
I agree.
All right. Next game. Kansas City Chiefs are only favored by 4.5 points against the Cleveland Browns. It first opened at -6.5, but now it's -4.5. So I don't know what's going on there. But the total's 44.5.
Under.
I'm going over. I think it's a shootout. I think Jameis is going to steal some crab legs, start eating some W's, and I think it's going to be a banger of a game.
You're such a dummy. No.
But I'm taking the Chiefs to -4.5. Next game. Commanders favored by 7.5 against the Saints. The total's 43.5.
What?
Yeah.
No. You're going under.
Yeah. You're going under, and you're definitely taking the Commanders. Derek Carr just broke his hand trying to go for a first down. Don't know what's going to be left of his career at this point. But Taysom Hill's out for the year and enters Spencer Rattler.
Hey!
And Condre Miller's back too, so they might be using him instead of Alvin Kamara. Yay!
Hey!
All right, that's where we're at. Next game. This is weird. I want to say this first off. This is weird as hell. You got Dallas Cowboys versus Carolina Panthers. The Panthers are favored by 2.5 points.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Talk about recency bias. There ain't no way the Carolina Panthers, well, they shouldn't beat the Dallas Cowboys. They're not playing in Dallas, but to be fair, Dallas plays better this year away than they do at home. Because of that, I'm taking plus money on the Cowboys. The total's 43.5. I'm going to go over just because Bryce Young is figuring it out with Adam Thielen. And I think Cooper Rush is figuring it out with CD Lamb. So I do think it'll be a little bit higher scoring because that's only 22 points apiece for them to hit that over. So I think that'll happen.
You know what? I'll run with you on that.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Next game, New York Jets favored by 3.5 against Jacksonville Jaguars. Yeah. You're taking that all day. That's easy money.
Oh yeah.
Unless Aaron Rodgers messes it up, but the total's 40.5 points. I'm taking the under on that because I don't trust either of their offenses.
You know what? I'm going to go over on that.
That's
fair. I'm going to take the over on that.
That's fair. Next game, probably the biggest spread of the week. You got Baltimore Ravens favored by 14.5 points against the Giants. So I don't know if you go plus 14.5 on this just because of how high it is. If you bet 100 on it, you're only making like $1.60, I think is what the odds are at for it. Or 16. So you're making $16. So you bet 100. So the total's 43.5. I'm taking the under on that just because I don't trust the Giants offense whatsoever.
Yeah. I could buy it.
But I think Baltimore Ravens should win the game. Fair? Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Next game. Miami Dolphins versus Houston. Houston is favored by 3. The total is 46.5 points. I'll let you go first. You're going to go under? I will go under too.
Oh, man.
I'll tell you who I'm going to go. I don't trust him.
Fuck it, boys. Let's run with Houston.
Yep, that's where I'm going. I'm going Houston. I don't trust Miami. Let's go.
Run with it, boys.
Run it. Next game, surprisingly a lot closer than you think. The Colts versus the Broncos. Broncos are favored only by 4 points. And they're playing in Denver. And the total's 44.5 points. You're taking the under on that for sure.
Bro, you're taking the under, but that's Denver all day. What?
Denver all day. Easy. Without a shadow.
Bro, they're giving you free money right there. They're just chucking it in your face at that point.
Free money. Next game, New England Patriots versus Arizona Cardinals. Arizona's favored by 6. That is a very fair spread to take. I think you take that. The total's 45.5. I do not like that. I'm taking the under.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Simple.
Next game. Oh, it's Sunday. Why did I say it was Monday?
Sunday. Monster.
No, I know. I said the Bucks and Chargers were playing on Monday, but I must have not. I've been tripping on that. So Tampa Bay versus the Chargers. The Chargers are favored by 3 points. It's in Los Angeles. The total's 45.5. I'm taking the under just because the Chargers defense has been so good. But I'm taking the Chargers on this game.
Yeah, I'll run with you on that.
Okay. Let's go. Next game. We got Pittsburgh Steelers versus Philadelphia Eagles. To me, this is probably the game of the week. Actually, there's another game after this is probably the game of the week. Yeah. But with George Pickens being hurt, I think definitely taking Philly at -5. The total's 42.5. I'm taking the under on that. I'm gonna be real about that. I'm gonna take it.
You know what? I'll take the over.
All right.
I
know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
All right. Next game.
Go with the over.
Buffalo Bills versus Detroit Lions. Now that's a game. 2 explosive offenses, 2 defenses are kind of. No, I wouldn't say they're good. The total's 53.5 points. I'm going over. Their defenses are boo-boo.
I'm going to go under.
Detroit Lions are favored by 2.5 points. I think Detroit wins it. Potential Super Bowl matchup.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I'll run with Detroit. Yeah.
Okay. Next game. Green Bay is favored by 3 against Seattle on Sunday Night Football. And the total is 45.5. I'm taking the under on that just because it is in Seattle. The under. But I'm definitely taking Green Bay in Seattle. Don't care. Seattle's not good.
Yeah, I'll run with Green Bay.
Okay. We got 2 Monday night games. We got Chicago Bears against the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings are favored by 7 points. The total is 43.5. I'm taking the over just because their game was so explosive last time. So I'm going to take the over on that, but I'm definitely taking the Vikings at -7.
Yep, I agree.
Okay. The last game, and probably the boo-boo game of the week, in my opinion, you got Atlanta Falcons, favored by 5, against the Raiders. And the total is 44.5.
Yeah, under, and I'm taking Atlanta.
And I couldn't say it any better myself. I could not say it any better. That is the boo-boo game of the week, and I do believe everyone will be watching probably the Bears and Vikings because that is a divisional matchup, and it's something to definitely look at. Yeah. All right. Part 3 of our show is our hot takes. So you'll see some hot takes with me and X, or X and I should say, and you're going to see some hot takes with Kolby and I, which will be added here. He and I had to film that a little before, full disclosure, because your boy doesn't know how to schedule properly. I will go ahead and just say this. This is not even really a hot take. It's just more of a personal opinion, and I don't know why. It's probably more in my heart than my head. The Niners beat the Rams on Thursday Night Football to put the nail in the coffin to Bevel's fantasy football season. Just so he knows that is what it is. Also, I do want to say this because I think I'm going to use this as the beginning shot of the episode. I don't know if you saw the comments, but you got a "oh hell no," I believe, from Bevel on you talking some crap to him about not being in playoffs. All right, that's enough of my hot takes. I just wanted to shoot my shot because the boy missed playoffs in both leagues because of that. Poor soul. But X, what do you got for this week?
It was waiver time. It was waiver time for everybody. Should have been.
Oh.
Yeah.
That reminded me. I know. Hold on. We're going back. This is all unedited.
You're welcome.
I don't even care.
Hey.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
So, those last couple of weeks, your boy's been preaching nonstop about when the fantasy football season's, the playoffs is happening and your team is not in the playoffs, you should not be picking up on waivers. So what happens? Well, someone very close to me, I will not name their name, but they know who they are, decided to pick up a receiver that I needed, Amari Cooper, because I have no receivers because they're all hurt and I'm in the first round of my playoffs. and proceeds to say, well, I didn't want to read the messages because all you guys do is complain. When I put in the chat, hey, don't pick up anybody if your season's over because there's no point. There's no last place loser. Like there's not a punishment for being last place, and like these games are pointless. Just Sleeper doesn't have the function to turn them off. Like Yahoo, I think you can do it, but Sleeper does not. So then they proceed to be like, oh well, you could just buy me. They said to me, oh, you could just buy me Texas Roadhouse to make up for it. And I go, oh no, you can buy me Texas Roadhouse to make up for it. So just don't be that guy who does that. All right. It's fantasy football season, or I can't even talk. It's fantasy football playoff season. If you are not in, and especially with this week's games, if you're out, you're not in the third place game either, so you should not be picking up at this point. It does not matter. Okay. Now I'm done. Go ahead. Sorry. Getting me all heated.
So, as I said before, congratulations to everybody that made playoffs. Very proud of you. You were able to fight through the injuries. You were able to fight through the bullshit. And luck was on your side. So congratulations to those of you that made the playoffs. For those of you who didn't make playoffs, get good. You fucking suck. Okay? No, I mean, fantasy football is almost like 80% luck.
That is, yeah.
It really is. Like 10% of it is matchups. 10% of it is your team just being healthy. Because majority of the time, if your team is healthy throughout the entire season, then you've made playoffs. Majority of the time. So
that's fair.
This was a really weird season for everybody. This was a weird season of injuries. This was a weird season of games. This was a weird season of players doing weird things. And, top-notch credit to those of you that fought through all of that to make playoffs. Congratulations. Good for you. Get ready for this week. The first round of playoffs is form-fitting with the NFL schedule of tough games. Everybody's got tough matchups. Good luck. Maybe if you, didn't suck, then you would have got first round bye like myself.
Just not in our league. Just not in our league.
Yeah, just not in our league. Just not in our league. No. I could not fight through the injuries. I could not fight through the weirdness of this year. So that was unfortunate there, but the boy can stand tall in his other league where he called everybody a dirtbag. So he kind of needs to win this to,
you do.
You do. Not get shit talked to me. So,
and that is definitely 100% on you.
Yeah, no, 100%. No. I started it off. I brought it on myself, so I had to play good in that league. But really, I mean, the only thing that I got is really just to piggyback off that. Like, please, don't be a dirtbag. All right, really, don't be a dirtbag. Pick up your players Sunday morning, something along those lines. If you are in a league where there is a last place punishment or there's some type of thing like that going on, still have the respect. I understand, there's leagues at work where if you're last place, you're the beer bitch. You got to buy beer. You got to bring beer the whole time. And if all the beer runs out, guess what you're doing? You're going out and buying more beer. Okay. And whenever anybody snaps their hands for a beer, you're a beer bitch. Go get the beer. So I get it, but at the same time, keep it fair, keep it fun for everybody. Wait till Sunday morning. I would say wait till Sunday morning. Some people, I think, are too extreme with it and say, no, they shouldn't pick anybody up at all. No. You're not keeping the integrity of the league, as I've been preaching for the past 2 weeks. Okay?
Like I said, it's situational. It's situational. I think if there's nothing to play for, don't pick up. If it's for last place and stuff, or for money where you can get a high score, absolutely pick up. No problem with that.
I agree to a point. We talked about the whole integrity of the league, staying competitive till the end. So I agree with it to a point. But I really don't got that much to really cat out about this week, to be honest.
That's fine. So this is a good segue to say, from this point, there's going to be a hard cut. Don't freak out. Kolby's going to come on the show. He's going to share with us some of his hot takes. He has some statistics. There we go. And he's going to be giving us a little bit of hot takes. And I think he's going to be doing that probably up until week 17. And then for week 18, the plan is to have a show with everybody. Over probably me, X, Kolby, and possibly Bevel. The return of Bevel. I don't know. Kolby, welcome to the show. Kolby, this is your first time on the show.
Yep.
I know you've been listening. Full disclosure, this is my cousin from Oklahoma. We've never met, but hopefully very soon he'll come out to California and come see me.
For sure.
Kolby, how you doing today?
Doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing good. So, Kolby, you want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Yep. So, as you mentioned, my name is Kolby from Oklahoma. I'm a collegiate wrestler. So, right now I'm just doing schoolwork, doing some wrestling, and obviously watching a lot of football on the weekends. Been commissioner of a few leagues for a couple years now. I mean, it's not a big deal, but, it's less drama. And I just love fantasy football. It's something I can do on the weekends, just doing homework, watch football. So that's about it. That's for me.
Cool. So there's a saying I like to say where it's 5 minutes a day will win you your fantasy football league. Of course, I'm talking about on the toilet. Spend 5 minutes of your time on the toilet, going through your fantasy league, looking at the waiver wire, and just checking up on some fantasy football news, and maybe you'll end up in the playoffs. So
I will
those
say,
people who
you will need more time if you have more than one team. Like me, I have
that,
like five.
That's absolutely fair.
Maybe 25
minutes per team. 5 minutes per team. Per day. You average that out. It's like, 15 minutes on the Thursday.
Oh, yeah.
But so I know today we're going to do the hot take segment. Hopefully here in the future we'll bring you on for some more things, and that's on me for forgetting, but also it's on me for not scheduling correctly.
No
but
worries.
Go ahead and shoot me with your first hot take. I'd love to hear it.
All right, so my first hot take may be a little biased because I've been riding them this year, but it's going to be DK bounces back for the playoffs. It's going to happen. Yeah, he's been injured. Yeah, the last week and the week before, he was having limited practices. This week, he's having some healthy practices. He's got Green Bay. It's going to be a shootout probably. Let me check. Yeah, it's a 45.5 over under. This team has an implied 21.5. So it's 3 touchdowns. I don't remember the exact targets he's been getting, but he has been getting targeted pretty good last few weeks. So healthy week of practice. He's going to get it done this week. Another thing is everyone's looking at Jason, in my opinion. So that may bring some eyes off of him, get some targets, some receptions to him. What do you think?
I think it depends, right? So, I mean, you look at Green Bay, so they're favored by 3, and they're playing in Seattle. It's always tough to play against Seattle in Seattle. Yep. They're not unbeatable, right? They're not the Legion of Boom like they used to be. Right now, the line, it's the over-under is at 46.5, pretty high, in my opinion. But Green Bay's a playoff team. I mean, if it wasn't for Minnesota and if it wasn't for... Oh, I said that with the accent a little bit. Minnesota? If it wasn't for them... The Mud Ducks, and I mean, if it wasn't for the Lions, which obviously they're, NFC Championship, possibly Super Bowl contenders, they'd probably be the number one. I just think Green Bay is a really good team, and they really have an underrated defense, even considering injuries. And Seattle isn't what they once were, so I do agree in the fact that Seattle's receivers will have more opportunities because they are probably going to be playing from behind. And I think that's what a lot of good receivers, unfortunately, that's what happens.
Exactly.
Adams. You can look at oh my God, Zay Flowers this year. I mean, he's been getting doubled a crap ton.
Exactly.
And Amon-Ra, I mean, a lot of these guys they're going to get doubled, and because of that, their production's falling. So I know X isn't here to defend himself. I know he feel a little certain type of way about this specific situation. He's absolutely anti-DK. I am personally myself too, but that's more of just a bias thing, just because not a Seattle thing. Because I'm a Niners fan, but it's more of I've had him on my fantasy team, and he's caused me to lose. And I think for me going into playoffs, he's a big boom or bust. But I know you and I talked on the phone before this, and I said if you have a George Pickens who's hurt, or you get a Lad McConkey who's not playing, and DK, I mean, I don't know a better guy on the waiver wire probably right now in your league that's going to be better than DK. So I think you're going to go for the shot. I think he's going to be a big boom or bust, though. I don't think he has an average game. He's either going to go over and have a great game, or he's going to absolutely crap the bed. So unfortunately, this year, that's kind of how he is this year.
Definitely.
So.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
if
just
we
my
have
take on that.
Josh Jacobs running in for 3 touchdowns again, they get behind. Gino's going to do Gino. He's gonna sling it. So hopefully DK comes out banging. Then he plays Minnesota. They give up a lot of passing to teams.
They do.
So
they do.
He could
They have a good defense
there.
still, though, but they do give up a lot of passing touchdowns.
And then Chicago, last I think championship week, they're kind of there, kind of not very consistent. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's my first one. DK is going to pop off for the playoffs and come back. I mean, I don't think, unless you've had some injuries, I don't think DK is your wide receiver 1 necessarily. He may be a flex, wide receiver 2, so it's not that crazy, but he could win some leagues. The next one is going to be Mike Evans. He's gonna win people leagues this year. He's seeking his 11th straight 1,000-yard season. I think I did the math earlier. He needs about 102 yards per game. So it's pretty possible it's going to be Baker Mayfield just slinging it too. They're also fighting for a playoff spot. So that could play a role for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I really like Mike Evans. My wife has him like on every single league that she's in just because that's one of her favorite players. Yep. I don't know if he gets to 1,000 yards this year just because he was injured. Mm-hmm. I think if he wasn't injured, definitely it's easily like, unfortunately this year's going to be one where he's not going to, in my personal opinion. Yep. Baker does throw the ball, but McMillan's been getting a lot of looks and getting a lot of targets and a lot of touchdowns in the red zone. And it's for the same reason kind of what I said about DK. It's like where your best player is going to get doubled and is going to get more eyes on them. Yep. And now with Godwin out for the year, well, it's been a while now, but Godwin out for the year. Now you have McMillan. You have Rachaad White, who now, if Bucky plays or not, is going to depend on his usage. And even Cade Otton, and I know X feels a certain type of way about me and Cade Otton. I really like him. I just think he's a good target down the field. Yep. I've always liked George Kittle, even though he's a big boomer bust. Mm-hmm. But to be fair, every tight end's boomer bust this year. Mm-hmm. It's just what it is. Yep. But I think, does he have opportunities to score? Absolutely. Is he a starter every week in your lineup? Absolutely. Yep. Do I think he hits 1,000 yards? I don't know. I don't know.
He could.
My heart says yes. My head says no. Yep. If that makes sense.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing for DK. They're both, the Seahawks and the Bucs, are fighting for that last playoff spot, and I think they're 1-2 games ahead of the team behind them. So they got to win. They got to sling the ball. I'm betting on the Bucs on my team. I have 3 of them. I have Baker, I have Evans, and I have Cade Otton. Traded for all of them. So I'm hoping that they just sling the ball, catch a lot of passes, score a lot of touchdowns. It's ride or die.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens. I think you can let us know next week what happens with that.
We're going to see. And my next hot take is going to be Adam Thielen is going to win a lot of people leagues this year. May or may not be a hot take, but I think it's going to be a hot take. Looked at last year, won a lot of people leagues. Got hurt earlier, and everyone kind of just wrote him off, especially with Bryce Young's performance. Bryce looking pretty good recently. Looking pretty good. So I think him and Thielen is going to get after it in the playoffs this week.
I think it depends, right? And it's not a knock on Adam Thielen. I think he did great in Minnesota with a pretty average quarterback. No offense to Kirk Cousins, but calling him for what he is, right? With an average quarterback, he did well. He went to Carolina. I mean, I like Andy Dalton better, and it's not nothing against Bryce Young. Is Bryce Young the better quarterback of the future? Yes. Mm-hmm. Does he have a lot of learning to learn? Yes. Has he been better since his break? Yes. I would like to think that Adam Thielen will win you some leagues just because I do have him stashed. Mm-hmm. But my problem is I have better receivers, I think, at this time. So because of that, I'm kind of waiting. Mm-hmm. I think him this week playing against Dallas is a very good matchup that you should definitely play. Overshown's hurt. They have Jerome Bland and Trayvon Diggs, but the thing with the Dallas Cowboys secondary is that they're boom or bust. They're either going to lock you down and get an interception, or they're going to let you score a touchdown. Mm-hmm. And we saw that last year, too, even when their defense was like a top 10, I think they were last year, if I remember correctly. So, I mean, I think Adam Thielen is a very good flex spot if you're unsure. Mm-hmm. But personally, like I'm in a situation where I have Chuba Hubbard, and now with Jonathan Brooks out with his ACL again, I'm starting Chuba Hubbard all day. Right. Especially with his extension, I think Chuba Hubbard's a better flex. But I think it's matchup, right? Mm-hmm. So they play Dallas. Do you know who they play in the next couple of weeks off the top of your head?
Yep. They play Arizona, and then they play Tampa Bay.
So Tampa Bay's another really good matchup, and that would be fantasy football championship too. Yep. So I definitely say that he could definitely a really good flex there. Mm-hmm. Arizona's a weird one. And one of the things that X and I say on the show is that Arizona's a weird team because they have really good games and they have really bad games. Mm-hmm. when a new Call of Duty Zombies map drops, Kyler Murray's going to play like crap.
Can't count on him.
When after it's been a week done, he's playing good. This week's matchup, he might be playing pretty well. But I think as long as no more Call of Duty drops happen, I think it might be an interesting team tomorrow. So
we'll see. But I do want to point out for Adam Thielen, the Eagles are your team, right?
No. Hold on. Let me explain. Hold
Eagles
on.
fantasy.
Whoa.
Eagles fantasy.
Yeah. Let me. Okay. So I'm a Niners fan. Okay. I'm a Niners fan.
Okay.
But until week 17, your boy is an Eagles fan. Okay.
But I'm just saying, Thielen torched them last week. Torched the Eagles defense. I mean, they're pretty tough.
It's all right.
So
I think it'll be okay.
Bryce just looks around. Where's Adam? There he is. Just toss it to him.
To be fair, I think Adam's the only reliable receiver on their team too. I like Leggett though, but he's just not there yet.
Yeah.
You know,
maybe those raccoons he's eating, maybe throwing him off a little bit. I don't know.
That's a good one.
Could be. All right, my next one. This is if injury happens, but Rachaad White, if Bucky Irving is out, he's going to catch a lot of passes. It's going to be good for the Bucs as well because, like I said earlier, I think they're one game ahead, so they're going to be trying to score touchdowns, trying to win games. So Rachaad White could be a league winner down the stretch. They do have the Chargers this week. I know they're pretty tough against the run, but they do give up some receptions to that running back position. So I think Rachaad White could be a league winner with Dallas and Carolina the next 2 weeks after that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with you on that as well. I think with the injury to Bucky Irving, which I'm thankful for because I played one of my uncles this week, and he had Bucky Irving, and now he's kind of scattering. I think he has the backup of the backup of the backup for the Raiders. I forget the name off the top of my head. That's who he's starting this week.
Sincere McCormick, I think.
Yes.
Yep.
And good luck to him.
Yep.
Good luck to him because I would not be willing to risk my fantasy playoff on some third stringer practice squad guy. But hey, you never know. We've seen crazier things. I mean, look at Isaac.
I got him on my bench. I'm thinking about it. I don't know.
Teach their own. I wouldn't personally. I just think it's too risky, especially with how bad the Raiders' offense is. Yeah. But with that being said, Rachaad White has been proven as a PPR monster. So, and I've said this multiple times on all of our episodes. If you're not in PPR, I don't know what you guys are doing. Standard's not a thing no more. PPR should be the new standard, and it's an absolute just game changer. And there's a lot of things that you got to fix in the settings, but I don't want to go down that rabbit hole right now.
Yeah.
But with Bucky Irving injured, Rachaad White PPR, like you said, and it's kind of been the trend here, Baker Mayfield's throwing the ball. Whether it's to Cade, whether it's to McMillan, whether it's to Evans, whether it's to Rachaad White, they're a high explosive offense with a really, really bad defense in a really weak league. I guess I can't really talk about the Niners either. But, and until right now, I didn't even realize that the Bucs were in first place in the division because I remembered a while back that the Falcons were. But man, they have absolutely been just slumping.
I think I saw a stat. I think Kirk Cousins hasn't thrown a touchdown in like a month. So
I believe it.
Not looking very good over there.
It's weird when Drake London was a top receiver for fantasy football
everyone
for like 3 weeks.
For him. Man, I was close, but I didn't do it.
Wouldn't touch him with a 20-foot pole, man. I'll tell you that. Can't trust that boy. But yeah, I mean, I think that's a great take. I really do think he's going to have a good schedule down the stretch, and I definitely think he can be a league winner for sure.
And the next one kind of leads off what we're talking about the Raiders is Brock Bowers. I'm pretty sure that everyone that has Brock Bowers is in the playoffs unless you absolutely just don't manage your team. If you have Brock Bowers, you're probably in the playoffs. But this hot take is that, yeah, he got you there, but I don't think he's gonna help you in the playoffs at all with Ritter.
Really?
I don't think so. If we look at Ritter, look what he had Pitts, he had Drake London. They didn't do anything. So it's pretty hot. It's actually steaming. But I'm not for sure who they play the next 3 weeks. So that could cancel out this hot take.
They play the Falcons on Monday. They play the Jaguars, Saints. Well, Chargers, it doesn't matter. Week 18. You shouldn't be playing. You should not be playing fantasy football championships in week 18 for the love of God, whatever you do. But they got Falcons, they got Jaguars, they got Saints. Saints have a decent defense, but their team's in shambles right now without Derek Carr. I mean, it's been all season, so they have a kind of good matchup. Believe it or not. Falcons defense is hit or miss too.
I just can't get behind believing in Ritter. That's my thing. Just can't do it. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to put up a dud or a goose or anything like that, but I just don't see any 20-point, 30-point performances like he has.
I think that's fair, but my only counter argument would be name me a better tight end that you could pick off of waivers right now.
Pick off of waivers?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Hunter Henry, he may not be on many waivers, but Hunter Henry could be. He's been really consistent. If you need consistency, Hunter Henry is pretty consistent.
I think I like Jonnu Smith better.
Jonnu Smith.
If he's still there.
I don't know the exact roster percentage, but I know in a few leagues he's probably in there on the smaller, the 8 team. Probably Hunter Henry. I really liked Juwan Johnson until Carr got hurt, because I was going to pick him up and kind of stash him just to see, what happens. But now
Rather's not going to be it, and they're not going to let. Is Taysom still hurt? Yeah, he's out for the year, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that one's over.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Those guys are competing for Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders. That's all I know.
Exactly. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't know. I think I'm playing Bowers in playoffs week 1, but he also has Pickens hurt. So we're going to see if I have it right.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting matchup.
So next one is going to be that Jameis just absolutely torches the Chiefs this weekend.
No, please, for the love of God, no.
Just airs it out. Since the bye, he's had over 1,300 yards and 9 touchdowns. I think it's the 5th most since then. And then last couple weeks, the defense has given Aiden O'Connell 340. They gave Bryce Young 260. They gave Josh Allen 260. So they're giving up quite a bit of passing yards. And I recently just read a stat. They have one of the lowest pressure rates, like at 27% in the league. So if you give Jameis time, those deep bombs are going to be there all day.
So you thinking I should be starting Jerry Jeudy or what?
I mean, it depends who you're trying to start him over. What's your options?
I don't remember off the top of my head. I'm kind of hurting at receiver anyway, so. Because I got Ladd, Pickens, Downs, Pittman.
Would you play? Would you play Downs or Jeudy?
Jeudy.
Yeah, I'm thinking another one.
I don't trust the Colts receivers with Anthony Richardson in there. Richardson can't throw the ball to anybody.
Ridley or Jeudy? I think Ridley plays the Jags this week, so it's kind of tough.
Jeudy. I don't trust Will Levis.
Yeah, I don't either. A lot of people are saying you should start him, pick him up. I'm like, Yeah, I think I think Jerry Jeudy's just a great play. I have him in one league. I sat him on that 300-yard game or whatever he had, and I said, all right, never again. He's in my lineup.
I know. I told everyone to sit him too on the show. They can go back and watch it. Well, that's funny.
But
yeah, well, for me, I hope Jameis doesn't, just because I'm playing against him potentially. But that's more me being selfish rather than that.
I think if you're an underdog and you're playing some really low wide receiver 2s and flexes, Jameis could be a throw that can give you another 25 or 30 point performance. That can kind of give you a little bit of a boost in points.
Yeah, he's a boomer bust for sure. Definitely. I think he's either going to go 12, 13, 14, or he's going to go 30, 20, 22. That's pretty. I mean, that's pretty good for a quarterback.
Yep.
If you don't have a top 10 quarterback.
But my next hot take is going to be the Bengals will make the playoffs. I think they will. I think they'll
really?
They'll do it.
Let's see where they're at.
I did some research.
They're 5-8.
5-8 right now. So if they win out, they'll be 9-8. They play the Titans, the Browns, the Broncos, and the Steelers week 18, which Steelers may sit their starters, even though it'll still be Justin Fields. So they may sit some of their starters. So they could win out, be 9-8.
I think it depends. Because the Bills are also 10-3, and if they want the number 2 seed or not.
Yep, exactly. So
I think that's just going to depend.
There are some other things. So the Colts have to win 2 games or less, so be 8-9. I think the Dolphins also have to do that. They also have to win 2 games or less. And there's one of 2 teams that have to lose out completely. Go 0-4 the next 4 weeks. You have the Texans. They play the Dolphins, Chiefs, Ravens. Dolphins, Chiefs, Ravens.
That ain't gonna happen.
Is Titans. Titans beat them. I don't know if they'll sweep them. Probably not. But the other one is Broncos lose out. They play the Colts, which is possibly the only toss-up in my head, as the Broncos are favorites. Then they got the Chargers, the Bengals, and the Chiefs. So the Texans and Broncos play 3 pretty tough teams, 1 okay team. But we've seen it. Titans beat Texans earlier. We've seen it before.
So all these scenarios need to happen for the Bengals to make the playoffs?
Yep.
Well, there's a saying that we like to say where it says you can wish in one hand and shit in the other and see which one fills it faster.
I think wishing's gonna do it. And if you have one of those Bengals players, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Burrow, They're going to be going ham these next 3 weeks.
I agree with that. I agree that the Bengals are an absolute start until week 17. Obviously, this should be your fantasy championship. If it's not, you talk to your commissioner.
And you think
but I don't see the Texans losing out, to be honest.
That is true.
I don't. I truly don't.
We'll see what happens. I could see them losing the next 3 games. The Dolphins, Chiefs, and Ravens. I can see that.
I think they could beat the Dolphins.
You think so?
Yeah.
Tua's just been so good. I actually just traded Tua.
It takes one Tua to decide that he wants to become a linebacker when he's running the ball. That's all it takes. Unfortunately for him. I like the guy, but that's all it takes, and he's done.
I did just trade him 1-for-1 for Baker Mayfield. So we'll see what happens.
That is a great trade.
We'll see what
happens. You won that 100%.
So he's got a good playoff. Tua, though, he's going off. So hopefully I don't play him now, and he just torches me.
No, I think you'll be okay.
And my last one, just to end it, it's going to be the Lions win the Super Bowl. It's a little bit of a hot take. You may not like that, but ever since I watched Lions Hard Knock 2 years ago, I think they started off the season terrible. And I was like, man, the Lions, they're going to be good. Here they are, top of the league, number 1 team in the league. I think their power ranking is number 1. There's no one else that can compete with them.
I mean, we talked about this on the phone. I'd argue it's the Eagles. I think the Eagles have a better defense than the Lions. Mm-hmm. Brian Branch has been hurt. The Lions do give up a lot of points.
Yeah.
The Carolina game was weird for Philly, but I mean, all these good teams always have that one team. I mean, the Chiefs always lose to the Raiders every year. It's weird. Mm-hmm. It's weird how that happens.
What was the score to the Panthers-Eagles?
16-22.
16-22.
Pretty low scoring.
What do you think the Lions would do to the Panthers?
Oh, I mean, they blow them out. I'm not arguing that. I'm not arguing that the Lions don't have a good offense. But I didn't say
I just
that
think
they
the
had
Lions
a bad
do it.
offense. I think they have a bad defense.
Right. Which would cause Jared Goff just to go absolutely absurd there in the playoffs. I don't know. There's something. I've had Dave Montgomery as well, so maybe a little biased. But man, that run game's unstoppable. So I don't know.
Let's see. So passing yards against the Lions are ranked 23rd right now.
23rd?
Yes.
The thing with the Eagles is that I think Jalen has less than 150, maybe less than that the last couple weeks, which is because of Saquon. But I don't know the exact ranking for the Lions running defense.
So I'll give you the 4 teams that have the most yards against them this year. It's the Baltimore Ravens with 422.5 per game. The Lions at 394.8, the Bucks at 379.2, and the Niners at 370.
Wow, I can't believe the Falcons aren't on there, but I guess that's not probably pretty close.
Their defense, like I said, it's not half bad. It's just also it's matchup based, and they're in a really bad division too, so you got to kind of factor that into consideration. I just think, I mean, obviously I'm biased too because I got the Jalen and the Saquon stack going into fantasy playoffs, 5th seed, came from last place, kind of just hoping that I can ride it because I'm either Jalen's going to score or Saquon's going to score.
Yep.
I don't really care who. I don't care if it's a tush push. To me, I'm getting points. My preference is a dump off pass to Saquon, so I get double the touchdown points. So it'd be a Josh Allen situation all over again.
Hopefully, yeah. Because I got Amon-Ra Monty in my main league. So it's either they get down there, who's going to score? Is it going to be Monty? Is he going to run it in, or are they going to toss Amon-Ra? Recently, hasn't been Amon-Ra. I don't know. Maybe they just want to get Tim Patrick some touchdowns. But that's what I'm hoping.
I just think it's because he's open. I mean, Amon-Ra's getting double. People are going to keep eyes on him.
Definitely.
I mean, I'm surprised J-Mo is not really doing anything because he's the quickest guy on the team. And I would say arguably he's not more talented than Amon-Ra, but athletically, I'd say he's more athletic than Amon-Ra.
And there's that.
But he can't stop
the best coach.
using steroids.
Best coach in the league. Campbell.
I would say, I don't know if I agree with that, but I would say that, because I would argue it's probably Andy Reid. But I will say that Ben Johnson has done a very good job with their offense.
Yep.
And I do think he's going to become a head coach somewhere.
Definitely.
I will say sad, that.
But I'd love to see what Andy Reid can do without Patrick Mahomes. I don't know if it's another Tom Brady, Bill Belichick situation, but I don't know. That's for another day.
I think quarterbacks are a product of their environment, and Brady wouldn't be Brady without Belichick, just like Belichick probably wouldn't be Belichick without Brady.
Yeah.
And I think, Andy Reid has been good, so I would argue that he put Patrick Mahomes in a really good situation and went out and got Alex Smith.
Good point.
And did the right thing and taught him got somebody that knows a lot about football and is very smart. Intellectually is very capable and very football oriented. It's kind of like Tony Romo. When you listen to him on the broadcast, I can listen to him for days because he can tell you what's going to happen, why it's going to happen, based on the formation. Tony Romo would probably also make a really good coach.
For sure.
Kolby, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Thanks for sticking around. Next week, we got week 16, which is going to be week 2 of your fantasy football playoffs. And we got week 17 as a reminder, which is going to be your fantasy football championship. Hopefully, you should not be playing week 18. And we'll reiterate that every week until we are done here. So the plan for the show is we're going to do week 16, 17, week 18. Like I said earlier, we're going to do more of like I don't want to say an open mic night because it's not a comedy show, but essentially there might be 4 of us on here kind of going back and forth talking about different games, such as the playoffs or who we think is going to win. Maybe talking about some fantasy stories, some things that probably shouldn't have happened, some things that did happen. And we're going to kind of be just kind of segueing into that. And as we start getting into actual NFL football playoffs, the plan is to still do a show. It's just going to be a lot shorter. So it's going to be focusing primarily not on starts and sits. It's just going to be the betting for the week of the games and just talking about a little bit more of the games while we're talking about the betting aspect of them. And maybe a little bit of takes here and there, but as the season kind of goes, it'll kind of get less and less and less, and it'll be shorter and shorter and shorter until the Super Bowl, where we'll have our last final show, and that'll be it until, I guess, August, right? I think that's when it starts back up. Yeah. So don't be surprised by that. But we do have other shows. So this is just the Unfiltered Fantasy Football Podcast, or whatever you want to call it. Essentially, it's still Encinas Unfiltered. Think of Encinas Unfiltered as a network, and then there's shows within that, which is the fantasy football. And then we have the Unfiltered Breakdown, which Steven and I will do, which is going to be covering MMA and boxing fights like Usyk and Fury, which is coming out December 29th. We will be filming for that. And then we have the interview. So full disclosure, I will be doing an interview Sunday and Monday, which I said at the top of the show. So expect those interviews to come out, and then it's just going to be me interviewing local fighters and both boxing, MMA, or any kind of athletes. It's just to kind of give them a platform. So that's the plan with the channel. So don't be surprised if it's no longer fantasy and then it's something else. But that is what is going to be the plan for the show and for the channel. And it will be like that moving forward until August, where we will pick back up fantasy football and redo our list like we did this year. But with that being said, please like and subscribe. Please check out our website, www.encinas.com. You'll have our picks for the week. You'll have all our social links, and you'll be able to watch the episode directly from the website as well. X, thanks for coming on. I know it's kind of like an hour and a half show here, but we had a lot to talk about.
We were trying.
Hey, it is what it is. And, it's coming down to a close, so might as well get everything you want to say out now until we talk.
Let's do it, boys.
Until next time, everybody. Peace.
Later.